Good afternoon, Trojan family. My name is Greeley F. Harris III, and I serve as the Center Director for the Center for Black Cultural and Student Affairs. I'm so excited to welcome you all to the Black History Month kickoff event today. We have an amazing program for you all as we celebrate Black History Month 2021 with the entire Trojan community. The theme for this year is Black History in the Making, which highlights how our African Black students, staff, faculty, alumni, allies, and community partners are contributing to enrich world history each and every day. Please join me as we start our program with the Black National Anthem, followed by our USC President, Dr. Kara Folt. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful singing of the anthem. Today is about celebration as we mark the beginning of a joyful month honoring the history and the contributions of our entire Black community. But before I talk about USC, I want to recognize this historic moment. This is the very first Black History Month, which we can say a Black woman and a South Asian America is serving as the Vice President of the United States. I was so moved to see Kamala Harris sworn in last month, and to add poetry to the morning, literally, we heard the inspiring words of Amanda Gorman. What a day that was. And both of them have wonderful local connections. USC awarded Vice President Harris an honorary degree in 2015 when she was serving as the state's attorney general. And Amanda Gorman is an LA native. We all know that representation really makes a difference. Representation inspires change. At USC, we are familiar with some of our amazing pioneers, from Laura Gertrude Brown, who was USC's first Black graduate, to Dr. Wanda Austin, who served as the university's interim president. From the innovative architecture of alumnus Paul Revere Williams, to the incredible philanthropic vision of Dr. Verna and Peter Dotrieve, whose names are etched on one of our most prominent historic buildings. But representation is just one of the pieces of the important work that we have to do together. Today, our focus is on the voices and the advocacy of our Black community members and how they are bringing about systemic change. Our theme, and I really love this, is Black History in the Making. Among our faculty from Nasir and Marshall, we're familiar with Sean Harper's illuminating scholarship to advance racial equity. And from Annenberg, Alyssa Richardson's pioneering work with mobile journalism and citizen journalism. Among our staff, we are inspired by Michelle Turner, an Associate Vice President in the Office of Business Diversity and Economic Opportunity. She's also a double USC grad with her PhD and her BS from USC, and she's been the Executive Director of USC's Black Alumni Association since 2007. She's said, quote, "I want to leave a legacy that is really about reducing barriers to success, especially for diverse people. Her dreams, I'm certain, echo many of your own, and you each have your own story to tell. As your presence today shows, you are also committed to lifting up Black contributions, history, and history everywhere. In that spirit, I want to briefly share a lesser known story about one of our students, and that is a student, Angelina Crittenden. She's a senior majoring in biology at Dornsife with a minor in forensics and criminality. Her dream is to become a forensic pathologist. Growing up, she commuted 2 hours a day to attend public school. It was 2 buses and a train ride away. And then she walked the last mile. She's a first-gen student, and she wanted to make sure that she helped other first-gens at USC. So together, she and sophomore Matthew Torres, who's a psychology major at Dornsife, built USC's first generation student leadership program from the scratch last year. They were hoping that maybe 60 first-year students might show up. But guess what? They welcomed 370. That tells you it was change that was needed, and they're doing it in a way that makes us see what meaningful change looks like. They did it with imagination and compassion and dedication, and it's the kind of work and spirit that we celebrate today. And we celebrate it amongst all of you here today. Your own contributions, big and small, loud and quiet, are helping all of us really get to a better place. Before I introduce our amazing speaker, I would like to thank all of our speakers today. And I'd like to thank our events staff. They make these programs work. We're so grateful for them for getting them online. And of course, I really want to thank our USC 2021 Black History Month committee who put together this wonderful program. This committee includes representatives from athletics, from Black cultural and student affairs, from the Black Alumni Association, from 5 student organizations, communications, university relations, special events, faculty members, DEI representatives. It really does represent our entire community. Thank you so much to all of them. They planned more than 30 events taking place over this month of celebration. So I urge you to tune in and participate in as many as you can. And so now it is my great honor to introduce our special guest speaker, Major General Charles Frank Bolden Jr., U.S. Marine Corps retired. Charlie Bolden is an incredibly accomplished member of the Trojan family. He received his BS in electrical engineering from the U.S. Naval Academy, and then later received his MS in systems management from USC. He's a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Charlie graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1968, where he became a Marine aviator and a test pilot. He was also highly respected by his peers and was the president of his class. You can never say that the sky is the limit for Charlie Bolden. He was selected as an astronaut candidate by NASA in 1980. and became a veteran of 4 historic space flights and has logged over, this is amazing, 680 hours in space. He piloted Space Shuttle Columbia, Space Shuttle Discovery 2 times, Space Shuttle Atlantis. And each of those missions accomplished groundbreaking studies like deploying the Hubble Space Telescope, studies which I think most of you have studied in school. After his service as an astronaut, he became Deputy Commandant of Midshipmen at the Naval Academy. Major General Bolden was nominated by President Barack Obama as the 12th administrator of NASA in 2009, where he served until 2017. As administrator, he led nationwide NASA team to advance the missions and goals of the U.S. space program. I could truly share so much more, but there's one thing I really also want to highlight, and that is that he also has served as a USC trustee until last year when he became a life trustee here at USC. He is a terrific human being. He embodies service and integrity. He has lived and created history, and we are so proud to say that he is a true friend to me and to all of USC. So please join me in welcoming Charlie Bolden.
Thank you very much, Dr. Foltz. As you and I talked, as a child of segregated Columbia, South Carolina, growing up there, it was not in my wildest imagination that I'd end up one day at NASA, and especially that I'd end up leaving the planet, not once, but 4 times to travel to space. I want to take a little time, though, today and hopefully encourage all the participants in this great celebration to commit to helping everyone understand that Black history is American history. And I'm going to say that again. Black history is American history. There was probably never a better time, but also never a more challenging time to foster the undoing and correcting of decades, if not centuries, of, I would say, racism, bias, discrimination on which our nation was founded. It's really important for all of us to understand that the system isn't broken. It's working exactly the way it was designed. And now it's time for us to come together to rebuild our nation and our culture to become inclusive, fair, and just. To take us as we are and to help us become the people and the Trojan family that we want to be. Perhaps nothing describes our challenge and our mission on this earth as well as the following excerpt from the Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on December 10th, 1964, with which I'll close my remarks this morning. It goes, here it is, and I quote, "Yet, in spite of these spectacular strides in science and technology, and still unlimited ones to come, something basic is missing. There is sort of a poverty of the spirit which stands in glaring contrast to our scientific and technological abundance. The richer we have become materially, the poorer we have become morally and spiritually. We have learned to fly the air like birds and swim the sea like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers. We have amazing knowledge of vitamins, nutrition, the chemistry of food, and the versatility of atoms. There is no deficit in human resources. The deficit is in human will," unquote. As a tribute to the incredible life of the Reverend Dr. King and the long legacy of this Black History Month, I pray that we depart from this place today as Trojans, filled with the will to live moral and spiritual lives that lift our fellow human beings to heights previously unseen. May God be with each of us on this and every day to come. Fight on.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Black History Month. My name is Anna Cockrell. I'm a Master's of Public Policy student, a member of the Women's Track and Field team, and one of the co-presidents of the United Black Student Athletes Association here at USC. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and I'm so glad that you're all here joining us today. And I hope that you'll join us for the other events that have been planned for this month. So many different organizations, departments, schools, and people here at USC have really collaborated and come together to put together a calendar full of events that not only will inspire us and educate us, but also really celebrate the Black experience, the uniqueness and the richness of the Black experience. So I'm very excited and very proud to know how much planning has gone into these 28 days. And I hope you all will pay attention to the calendar and attend as many events as you can. I know I plan to. Another thing that I want to highlight is that I hope we're all being really intentional about acknowledging and learning the histories of people whose names don't always get printed in the history books. There are icons, of course, but there are so many people who made impacts, whether it was in their own families or locally in their own communities, who made massive contributions, but they don't always get recognized. So one thing I'm really focusing on this month is learning about the Black icons in North Carolina, where I'm from, who made a difference, who desegregated places there, who may not be the national celebrities, but who nonetheless changed the lives and the course of history in the places where they lived and where they worked. Beyond that, I'm really excited about the theme for this month, Black History in the Making. I think so often we focus on how far we have to go without acknowledging how far we've come. So I'm really excited to celebrate Black people and the fact that we are still here in spite of all of the things that have tried to stop us, deter us, or eliminate us. Black people, we are so resilient, and I'm so proud to be Black, to be here at this event with you all, and to celebrate us. Black Lives Matter. Thank you all for being here. Happy Black History Month, and I'm looking forward to just really learning, educating, and celebrating with all of you this month. Thanks. Right on.
Hi everyone, my name is Awa Jama. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Woodstock, Georgia, and today I'll be performing an original poem titled Miss Martyr. She's dancing, she swing her hips to some rap caviar tune with inhuman synchronization. She's clocking in at 9 a.m. to join her fellow freedom fighters, cardboard manifesto in tow with 95s rhythmically pounding asphalt, a prodigal picket. She'll mouth off, she'll riot, she'll burn it all to the ground with a smile that could be the ceasefire. Never mind if she has to bite her tongue to keep that smile plastered on a bit longer. Never mind if she starts to bleed. The taunts, the jeers, the slights excused by innocence are more rubber pellets than bullets. They only leave bruises some of the time. She's found her seat at the table, one with softness that cuts like glass, made a martyr when she would have preferred a "How are you doing?" first. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Robert Cicedo, President and CEO of Community Build Inc. and Assistant Pastor of Los Angeles Community Church. I am overjoyed to be a part of your Black History celebration, History in the Making. First and foremost, I offer you as the basis of my sharing today the book of Romans, chapter 5, verses 2 through 5. Through him we have obtained access to this grace, in which we stand and we rejoice in our hope of sharing the glory of God. More than that, we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not disappoint us, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. You know, I find this body of scripture to be quite inspiring and really tells our story as a people. As African Americans, we have seen the ills and darkness that exist in America. As a people, we have suffered through some of our darkest days. However, being the resilient people that we are, we have found the strength to rejoice in our suffering, because we know that in our suffering, through watching God make a way out of no way, he has instilled endurance in us. An endurance that produces character, and character that allows us to be resilient no matter what is going on around us. Character that builds on collective consciousness. Character that demonstrates hope, and hope that takes us from the unknown into a reality that embodies our very greatness. That greatness is designed for us to stand united with all of our brothers and sisters, black, brown, white, red, and yellow, to live out the true meaning of our creed that all men are created equal. This is a hope that God Himself has poured into each and every one of our hearts. A hope that recognizes that our brothers and sisters don't have to ask for help when they need it. Rather, the fact that we are our brother's keeper, we give the help as we see it. We give the help as we hear about it. We even give the help as we experience it. This is truly the hope that does not disappoint because it is our faith being lived out to its fullest. You know, as scripture says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. In other words, when you operate on the chassis of hope and act on your faith, you truly operate with a hope that does not disappoint. You know, as a believer, I know that God gave us the Holy Spirit, and in it is through this Spirit that God's love has been poured into our hearts. You know, during this month's celebration of Black History, I challenge each and every one of you to find that place in your heart, to find that place in your mind, to find that place in your personal stories where personal endurance has been your guide and compass. And be sure to navigate this journey we all call life as a united team. As a righteous person, blessed to personify the true meaning of fight on. For most of you, it was great sacrifice and determination that allowed you to enter these great walls of learning at the University of Southern California. For others, it was missing a meal or perhaps giving up a meal to a classmate in need. Whatever is your chassis for endurance, always remember you must fight on. You must fight on knowing that there are people on the path of your journey who will stand in the gap as you stand in the gap for one another. Always remember this is a we thing and not a me thing. A we thing that caused you to be driven by God's given convictions to rejoice in your suffering. Endure by knowing you walk by faith and not by sight. A faith that produces great hope and hope eternal. May God bless each and every one of you. May you embrace the endurance of your ancestors and moreover be a part of history in the making. And no matter what, always fight on. Thank you very much.
This month, as we celebrate all that we have become and all that we have accomplished, let us not forget the history that still haunts us. For in order to move forward, we must embrace our painful past. Let us acknowledge that America has never been a nation that has fully celebrated all of its vibrant hues and flavors. We have consistently seen evidence of this country's unwillingness to accept those who have been stolen and those who have been stolen from. Yet, I come to you today with the hope of reconciliation. When we look back on our dark past, we can proudly lift all of our voices and sing as we stand on the shoulders of those who brought us thus far. My prayer is one day we can all sing a different song and mean it. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Right now, that's truly hard to do for some of us. The revolution is being televised and the breaking news is that we're still being murdered, lynched, and maimed. But even though we've been deflated, thank God we've not been defeated. We've gone from Harriet Tubman to Kamala Harris, from Frederick Douglass to John Lewis, from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to the Reverend Dr. Bernice King, from Bea Richards to Regina King, from Maya Angelou to Amanda Gorman, from Wilma Rudolph to Anna Cockrell, from Barack Obama to Raphael Warnock, from the nameless slave in the Georgian cotton fields to the nameless deacon leading the praise team at the Storefront Church in South LA, from Dr. Wanda Austin to the next Black Trojan who will add his or her name to the list of the brave and the bold. Use the past to inform your present and your future. Have the courage of your convictions. Know that it is incumbent upon you to be the change that you want to see. As the great Myrlie Evers, wife of the slain civil rights activist Medgar Evers, once told me, we've won a few battles, but the war rages on. We must strive to forgive, but never, ever forget. Fight on, Trojans. Fight on.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cameron Brown, and I have the pleasure of not only working at the Center for Black Cultural and Student Affairs, but I'm also fortunate enough to lead an organization called Brothers Breaking Bread, a Black male collective at USC. I'm a senior now, and as I reflect on my past few years here at USC, I think about my experience being involved in both of those organizations. At the CBCSA, I get to meet amazing people every day from all different walks of life. If you've ever been in the office, you hear many different conversations and stories. Some are entertaining, some filled with laughter, but most of all, some are super insightful and inspiring. I absorb so much just being able to sit and listen to Black men and women talk about the work that they're doing at an internship or for their thesis or for their doctoral program. I'm convinced that they are true examples of Black history in the making. One of those students who left such a mark on the Black community at USC was Victor McElhaney. His spirit, intellect, and beauty was felt by everyone who was able to hear his words. And when I think of Black history, I cannot help but to be reminded of him. He inspired us all with his commitment to lift up Black voices and devote himself to healing the Black community. He was also a passionate believer in the organization I'm now president of, Brothers Breaking Bread. In the time that he was president of the org, he changed the trajectory of our organization, encouraging all of our Black men to have dialogue and meetings that help reframe and restructure Black masculinity for the benefit of all people. Victor McElhaney was an example of Black history in the making. His vision for the org is something that we carry with us to this day. It's what inspired me to run for president of the org. Though my presidency has been challenged by COVID, I'm proud of the work that myself and the executive board members are doing. And I'm rewarded when I get to see the Black men in our org who are advancing in their careers, starting their own companies, collaborating with each other on creative projects. All of it is revolutionary. I know that the men of BBB are examples of Black history in the making. So as I get ready to graduate in May, I reflect on all of these experiences, all the people I've met, all the students I've interacted with, everyone that has inspired me. This month and the months that follow, I challenge myself and my fellow Black students to stay the course and continue being Black history in the making. Thank you.
Hi, family. My name is Mahogany Borayo Gilchrist, and this is
Zoe Gilchrist.
And how I am making Black history is creating space for future Black scholars to achieve their dreams in the world, however grand or magnificent those dreams are, while simultaneously being a light amongst many lights in the educational sphere to encourage young Black scholars to achieve their educational and professional goals by any means necessary. Fight on,
Fight on.
and happy Black History Herstory Month.
My name is Anna Cockrell, and I'm making Black history by building up the United Black Student Athletes Association, an organization dedicated to improving the experience of Black student athletes here at USC, and by working with other Black organizations on campus, including VSA, CVCSA, and the VAA, to improve the experience of all Black Trojans, to make USC more responsive, not only to Black USC students and Black Trojans, but to the greater Los Angeles community as well. Black History Month is really important. Black people, we matter. Black lives matter. Fight on.
Yeah, I'm making Black history by being true and authentic to myself and my Blackness, by bringing my whole Black self to all of my spaces, and also by being intentional about focusing my energy on my Black community. We are making history every day. We must reflect on how we can continue to make history, but even more importantly, how we can advance our collective Black history. Fight on.
Hello everyone, I'm Jakaya Burke, the Special Events Chair of our Black Student Assembly, and I'm contributing to Black history through creating events for our community because I believe it's so important to celebrate even in tragedy and to keep our spirits uplifted. So stay tuned for all of the fun events we have planned for you for this month and for the rest of the semester, and fight on!
Greetings, Trojans, and happy Black History Month. But remember, Black history is happening every day, 365 days a year. My name is Natalie, the future Dr. Hart, and I'm making Black history by becoming the first in my family to get this degree. I'm honored to be a Trojan, and I'm honored to share this day with you all. I may be the first in my family, but I will not be the last. Fight on.
Good day. Happy Black History Month. This speech is titled Bridges and Elephants. Einstein once said, "Many times a day, I realize how much my own life is built on the labors of my fellow men, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received. When I think about making Black history, I think about my fellow men, the crazy ones, that life, the great amanuensis, places into history. Black history is, has been, and will always be unique. Making Black history means you've overcome flesh with tenure and comfort and society, which has made impossible the starting point for Blacks. I, on my own, am not strong enough to make Black history. I count on my fellow men, the obvious, Dr. King, James Baldwin, Du Bois, A. Philip Randolph, Malcolm, Booker T, Whitney Young Jr., Marcus Garvey, and the not, Andrew Carnegie. These men are men like me. Carnegie used steel to usher in a vertical world. What captivates me about Carnegie, like all great innovators, he faced doubt. Steel, like the love for Dr. King, were not embraced then as they are now. The people were unsure of the safety of steel and the St. Louis Bridge. Getting the people to trust innovation came through overcoming superstition. Knowing that people believed elephants wouldn't cross an unstable surface, Carnegie held a parade and put the elephant in front. The elephant walked, the people followed, and into the vertical world we see now, we went. Today, we are in need of a rebirth, a new bridge, a new elephant. We face new doubts. This bridge, like any great innovation, must be built on the labors of our fellow men. Malcolm said, read absolutely everything you get your hands on. Baldwin said, not everything faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. A. Philip Randolph, salvation for a race, nation, or class must come from within. Whitney Young Jr., support the strong, give courage to the timid, remind the indifferent, and warn the opposed. Du Bois, if we cannot bear the uplift of our own proletariat, we are doomed for all time. Garvey, the Negro is perishing because he has no economic system. King said, there must be something positive and massive in order to get rid of all the effects of racism and the tragedies of racial injustice. I say I had to include the blueprints of my fellow men as the starting point for this new material, this new bridge, this new elephant. To eradicate poverty in Black America and to deliver the sustainable development goals into Black America and make Black history, earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Trojans. I am Dr. Stacy Finley, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to participate in the Black History Month kickoff event. As we can all appreciate, these are unprecedented times. We are in the middle of a global pandemic, one that disproportionately affects Black people. We are in a time of reckoning for our country and for the world as we continue to fight injustice, unfair treatment, brutality, and senseless murder of Black people. Yet here we are at the start of a month that is set aside to honor and highlight Black people, African Americans, descendants of slaves. We have a long and deep history in this country, and that history must be celebrated. I want to encourage you to first learn our history and then to make history. Learn about our ancestors, those upon whose backs this country was built. Not just what is superficially covered in middle school textbooks, that Blacks were slaves and then we were free, but the history of Claudette Colvin, the history of Black cowboys. Learn about great contributions of Black writers like William Wells Brown, who was the first Black person to publish a novel in 1853. Learn the stories of Blacks who were the first to achieve great academic accomplishments, like John Alexander Somerville, the first Black person to graduate from USC in 1907. And while we herald the accomplishments of Black people over hundreds of years, we must also share in the current achievements and firsts of our lifetimes, like Vice President Kamala Harris, or Dr. Sierra Civils, who in 2018 became the first Black woman to earn a PhD in nuclear engineering from the top program in the country. Just 2 years ago, I became the first Black woman to earn tenure in the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. The fact is, we are each accomplishing some kind of first. We are making history, reaching milestones that our children's children will learn about and celebrate decades from now. So let us embark on the month of February with excitement, with a desire to learn about the history of our people and the motivation to make history of our own. And let that momentum stay with us as we honor the ongoing story of Blacks in our country and in the world. May we each celebrate Black history for the next 28 days and each day after.
Greetings, Trojans, alums, and current students, current faculty. It's my honor to bring greetings from myself and my sorority, a Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. It's an honor to share this Black History Month with all of you, and I charge all of you to support Black businesses, support other people that are in your communities, as well as your neighbors and people around you. We have been making history for years and years and centuries, and we continue to do so every day. Black history is not a month, it's a year, it's every day. And what we're doing every day as folks, a part of the African diaspora, is making history that is worth mentioning. It's an honor to be here with all of you today. I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I'm honored to continue that tradition and set a new tradition within my family to create that generational wealth that we didn't have once before, but we will be starting with me. I'll be the first in my family to also get this doctorate's degree. I'm in my final semester at Rossier in the EDD program, and I'm proud that I can be a positive influence for others to follow in my footsteps. So think about what you're doing today and every day to create a legacy for others to follow. Our history is American history, and we do this every day. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Pearson, and I encourage you to start a revolution. So here's Dr. Pearson's disclaimer. Start a revolution based on illuminated values. Do not storm the Capitol with an ill-conceived, hate-inspired, murderous yet feeble and futile attempt to overthrow American democracy or anything like that. Start a revolution to solve the world's wickedest problems. Start a revolution to demilitarize police forces. Start a revolution to start a family. Start a revolution like the time you decided to develop yourself and take your talents to USC. See, Black History Month is the product of a revolution. It was said, those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history. Carter G. Woodson, creator of Negro History Week, which has evolved into Black History Month. Woodson understood that history has the power to eliminate or enlighten. So let's set the historical record straight. Lest we not forget the trading empire of Timbuktu and the richest person ever, Mansa Musa. Lest we not forget Mereneith, Nefertiti, Cleopatra, among other women pharaohs. Lest we not forget the Olmec contribution to Mayan society tens of centuries before Columbus. Lest we not forget Yeshua ben Yosef spreading a doctrine of salvation and redemption, because Black history did not start off the coast of the Carolinas or on a plantation in Georgia. That any student studying American history would not think the chapter of slavery and the chapter of the Civil War is where and how Black people fit within America. Specifically, Black students wouldn't determine their worth and relevance in Jim Crow curriculum and westernized pedagogy. So again, start a revolution like Sojourner Truth, the most radical abolitionist, the first American feminist. Start a revolution like Harriet Tubman, liberate your sisters and brothers. Start a revolution like Madam C.J. Walker, make products for Black women by Black women. Start a revolution like Stacey Abrams and encourage participation in democracy. Start a revolution like Mickey Turner and capture truth and impart narrative through images. Start a revolution like attend Howard University through CBCSA's Historically Black College University Exchange Program and walk a mile in the footsteps of Vice President Kamala Harris. And when asked to give closing remarks at USC's 2021 Black History Month kickoff, call upon all Trojans to start a revolution so that we are not just Black history in the making, but definitively make Black history. Peace and blessings. Fight on. Yo, yo. Start a revolution.